There is just something about Neyland Stadium that Oklahoma likes to win games that, quite honestly, they shouldn't be winning. The Oklahoma Sooners go into Knoxville and stun the Tennessee Volunteers 33-27. And the Oklahoma Sooners, they found multiple things that I think that they can take on for the rest of the season and use it over their final three games when they play Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. But of course, we're not talking about Hugh Freeze being fired today. We're talking about the Oklahoma Sooners and their victory over the Tennessee Volunteers. What this means, we're going to break it down. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on the game. Before we do that, though, as always, I want to hear from y'all. So join the discussion. Jump in the comments below. Give me your guys' thoughts. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like or hit that subscribe button. Shout out to Eddie Wright, who caught me at Crest the other day. Appreciate you. Also to the guy at the Oklahoma Card Show that also caught me yesterday as well. Thank you for watching the show and being a supporter. Love to see you guys out in public when you guys see me. All right. So the Oklahoma Sooners beat the Tennessee Volunteers 33-27. And they stunned Tennessee. And you might be saying, hey, well, this was a ranked matchup. Like, these were two teams that were kind of equally yoked in their own ways. Like, what do you mean stunned at Tennessee? Well, Tennessee did what they did best, and they started the game really fast. They started the game really hot. But the Oklahoma Sooners can credit 3 turnovers in the first half to keeping them in the ball game and basically giving the offense just enough to be able to go out there and keep Oklahoma in there. You saw our Mason Thomas with the fumble recovery for a touchdown to tie the ball game. And I mean, really, that was such a crucial play. I mean, if Oklahoma doesn't get that, they lose this game by a point. But the offense still went out there and scored 26 points, which you would feel like could win you the game most days and probably should. But the Oklahoma offense did not play well in the first half. You felt like John Mateer just, again, was forcing things, did not look like the John Mateer we all expected. But the second half comes around, and, man, this is where you looked at this team and said, you play like this for the rest of the season. Oklahoma definitely wins 2 out of the 3 games, but has a good shot to go 3-0 over the final 3 games. You really probably found something in Tate Sandell. I think that's the first point we have to talk about today. Tate Sandell has this year just likes kicking 55-yard field goals, which was Oklahoma's record. He did 2 of those today, tied the record in Neyland Stadium, kicked 2 55-yarders. One of them got in by just a hair. Got a 51-yarder and then got one that was a little over 40. So Tate Sandell had himself an absolute monster day kicking field goals. And this is why you pay for field goal kickers. Oklahoma should pay him whatever it's going to take to keep him here. Make sure that nobody else goes out there and tries to offer him, tries to get him to hit the portal. Because I made this point yesterday in Jay's Discord, but if Oklahoma has a field goal kicker like Tate Sandell this year, how many games does Oklahoma win, right? I think you could probably say Oklahoma probably wins 2 games. Because I think a lot of times Oklahoma just got in field goal range last year and you didn't trust your field goal kicker and you had to go for it, but your offense was absolute dog shit and you weren't able to move the ball. So kicking, it matters. It changes things. And we saw that last night. It kept Oklahoma in the ball game when Oklahoma really shouldn't have been in the ball game. Fast forward, though, you get to the second half and Oklahoma opens up the half and, they're not able to score. They end up punting on that first drive. And I think at that point, a lot of people just felt like this was going to be the end of the game. But Oklahoma finds a way to get down the field, and Xavier Robinson fumbles the ball. Great punch out by Tennessee, by the way. But then Oklahoma is able to respond, get the 3 and out, and then Oklahoma is able to get down there and score and retake the lead. And at that point, I think the tune really changed. You started to see the defense play a little bit more of inspired football. They really felt like the offense has our backs. They can go out there, they can take care of business, and the defense doesn't have to try to win the football game. There were a lot of missed tackles in this game. Obviously, Tennessee, they've got some really good wide receivers, and I think that's just going to happen naturally. I do feel like when you're having to go out there and force a turnover the way that Oklahoma does sometimes, I think that does hurt and inhibit your ability to make tackles. I do think if Oklahoma gets to the point where they're consistently in the lead. I think those turnovers will just become more naturally, kind of like what you saw in the first half. So in the second half, you really liked what you saw from John Mateer. When especially on that, I think was it like a 3rd and 14 or 3rd and 15? Maybe it was a little longer. And John Mateer got that scramble for the first down. That was the John Mateer that we saw earlier in the season, the John Mateer that we really expected to find himself today. And ultimately, you saw John Mateer go 19 for 29, but a lot of those completions came in the second half to Deion Burks. You saw Jermichael Carter make some big time catches, and Isaiah Satania led the team with 6 catches. He didn't get a passing touchdown. He had an interception, but pass you shouldn't be making. And quite honestly, if the wide receiver makes that catch anyways, it's not one. Oklahoma gets 192 rushing yards, and Xavier Robinson has 115 of those. This is what you wanted to find. You wanted to find a successful run game that you were able to build on the past 2 games and something that you could carry over. And so far, it looks like the running game is carrying over. The changes that Oklahoma has made in the offensive line with Eddie Pierre-Louis going in for Hito Zaida, I feel like has worked. Again, you're starting to see this team be a little bit better in pass blocking than run blocking, but EPL has made a difference on the inside of that offensive line with getting push. All of your starting offensive linemen today were above a 70 grade on the pass block. Fabechi Wewu and Eddie Pierre-Louis were your best, as Fabechi was 85, EPL was 80, Michael Fasusi was at 76, Jake Michaela was at a 72, and I'm sorry, I meant to say Ryan Foje was your worst tackle. He was not in the 70s. He had a 40 pass block grade, a 57 run block grade. Jaron Kanik was probably your best non-tight end blocker. He had a 72.2 pass block grade and a 57.8 or no, that was Jake Michael. He had a 72.7 pass block and a 64.1 run block grade. Obviously, I think Caden Helms, you saw him out there multiple times, had some phenomenal blocks. Caden Helms, it's such a great story to see what he's been able to do. So ultimately, I see Oklahoma go out here. I felt like the offensive line played just as bad as well as they could. I mean, they did give up 4 QB hurries. They gave up 6 pressures. They gave up 1 sack. But this offensive line, I think you're seeing something start to build and something that you can continue to work off of for the rest of the year. And you start to see what it could be in the future. And then you go out here and you see the running game just kind of finally coming together. This is a big piece. I think that will open up a little bit more for John Mateer. And then the defense just goes out there and they're just as good as they, have been all season. They go out there, they get 4 sacks, they get 8 tackles for loss, they got 4 pass breakups. Like I said, they got the 1 interception, or no, they got the 2 interceptions, the 1 fumble, and the 1 fumble return for a touchdown. 77 total tackles. You had Owen Heineke as your leading tackler with 13, Kip Lewis with 10. Kip Lewis was all over Joey Aguilar. He did not want to see him in the background. But Oklahoma played a C- game and ended up winning the ball game. And you know what? If you're an Oklahoma fan, you're going to take that all day long, every single day. So they get a bye week. They get a chance to get healthy. Obviously, Logan Howland was off the injury report. I'd expect Taylor Tatum to be off the injury report, Derek Simmons, Keontae Lewis. I would expect this to be the healthiest Oklahoma has been all season, outside of maybe the first couple of games that you had at the beginning of the season. So coming into Alabama, right now, I'd say early impressions, I'd pick Oklahoma to lose that game. But it's going to be a close game, and I think Oklahoma, depending on how healthy they are and how much they can improve in the off week, which I think you have a lot of things that you can improve on, especially with John Mateer. This could be a win for Oklahoma when it's all said and done. You got to clean up penalties. They had 11 penalties for 104 yards yesterday. They were able to win time of possession, which was great because in that first quarter, Tennessee just dominated it, but Oklahoma ended up winning it 30 minutes to 29 minutes. Oklahoma lost the first down battle 19-28, but Oklahoma gets 351 total yards. The big ones, 192 rushing yards. Passing game, it will eventually come. It will fix itself. You win the turnover battle. But I want to hear from y'all. Join the discussion. Jump in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and you hit that subscribe button.